All right, let me piggyback off of what we did yesterday by considering volumes and proportionality. So consider you have this rectangular prism with dimensions 2, 3, and 4. The volume is super easy to calculate. It's just length times width times height. So 2 times 3 times 4 is 24, and that would be cubic units, which means if this was in meters, it would be cubic meters. If it were in inches, it would be cubic inches. Over here, you'll notice that I increased the dimensions by a factor of 2, so everything's 2 times bigger, and the volume is going to be 4 times 6 times 8, and it's 192 cubic units. Now, you'll notice that each of the dimensions over here is 2 times bigger than that, but this volume is a whole lot bigger than 2 times that. 2 times 24 would be 48. So it's not 2 times bigger in terms of volume, but each dimension was 2 times bigger, the length, the width, and the height. Anyway, so what we know to be true based on yesterday's talk is that if you just take one of the dimensions, like the height of this, like 2, that 2 cubed compared to 4 cubed should be the same as this area compared to that area. And it is. Because if you cross multiply 2 cubed times 192, you get 1536. And 4 cubed times 24 is also 1536, which tells us that if you cross multiply here, that these two fractions are equivalent. So just to summarize, because this is a volume measurement, if we take just one of the dimensions, in this case I used 2 and I used 4, and because volume is a cubic measurement, it's in cubic units, if we'll take that each dimension and cube it like I did over here, so I'm saying 2 cubed compares to 4 cubed, like that, in the same way that the volumes compare to one another. So anyway, so that's the way that works. Now, what this would enable us to do is if you just had like a couple of dimensions over here, like maybe even just one, maybe just knew this was 3. And maybe you knew this was a 6 over here. And maybe you knew this volume, but you didn't know this volume, and maybe you didn't even have the other dimensions listed, so there was no way to physically calculate the volume. Well, you could set up a proportion like this and find it. So pretty cool idea. So volume is a cubic measurement, but area would be a squared measurement. See yesterday's video if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, see you later.